if you want to, if everyone wants to come up here, and then I'll do a brief introduction, and then Cary.
Yes.
Come on, Cary.
Don't step back.
I know. I'm
Yeah, just stay in line with me. You'll be fine.
We all.
Want to act, Cary?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandy Barr. I'm the director for Sierra Club's Grand Canyon chapter, which is the Arizona chapter, and I use she, her pronouns. We're here today on the traditional lands of the Quapaw and Quetzan to highlight the plight of the Colorado River, the impacts climate change is having on the health of the river, and the impacts on people along the river and beyond. And to call on the Trump administration to stop the rollbacks of important climate protections. We cannot afford to lose the Colorado River flows, this important lifeline to the Southwest. With us today to discuss the climate impacts, the health of the river, and the harmful effects we are seeing in our communities, and to urge action are Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva, State Representative Mariana Sandoval, San Luis City Council member Lizeth, Servin, and Sierra Club Colorado River Taskforce lead Cary Meister. I'm going to provide a brief introduction of all of them, and then Congresswoman-elect we shouldn't have to keep saying elect, but anyway, Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva will go first. So, Rep-elect Adelita Grijalva represents the people of Congressional District 7, and even though she has not been sworn in, she is already serving these communities. She previously served on the Pima County Board of Supervisors, the Tucson Unified School District Governing Board. She's a native Arizonan, was born and grew up in Tucson. While on the Pima County Board of Supervisors, climate, water resiliency, and healthy and safe communities were key priorities, and the acknowledgement of indigenous communities and their role as stewards of the lands and waters. Representative-elect Grijalva is a fierce defender of people most affected by climate change, an advocate for environmental justices, and a champion for healthy communities for all. Representative Mariana Sandoval, her life exemplifies hard work and public service. She began her career as a paralegal, worked with indigent members of the community in LA County, and when she moved to Arizona, she continued her public service with the Arizona Attorney General's office, where she assisted in the prosecution of air and water polluters and the protection of wildlife. She also served on the Awafria School Board and was first elected to the legislature in 2022. Her legislative district covers a lot of the same lands as Rep-elect Grijalva's, and is a large legislative district. San Luis City Council member Lizeth Servin was elected to the San Luis City Council last November after making San Luis, Arizona her home for 30 years. She's been very involved in community activities, including Rotary, Yuma County Merit Award System, Yuma County Intergovernmental Public Transportation Authority, and the county's housing department. And she was recently selected for the League of Arizona Cities and Towns inaugural Civic Craft Leadership Program. And last but not least is Cary Meister. Cary is the leader of Sierra Club's Colorado River Task Force and the chair of the Grand Canyon Chapter's Wildlife Activist Group. He's served as a leader for the local Yuma Audubon chapter. Cary hosts a jazz radio program here in Yuma, in addition to engaging in many other community activities. He's been a youth soccer coach, moderator for his church's regional organization, and has volunteered for reforesting in the rivers, riparian ecosystem on the Quetzal lands. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva.
Thank you. Thank you. Is it on? Yeah.
Oh.
I think we just have to be like right on top of it.
Yeah. Sorry.
I will. No, that's okay. I will adjust. I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I used to be a middle school monitor, so I can project a little bit if I try. So buenas tardes, and thank you to the Sierra Cup for bringing us together today, and for all the work you do to protect Arizona's natural resources and the environment across the country. Colorado River is not just a river; it is our lifeline. It sustains 40 million people, more than 30 tribal nations, our farmers and cities, and it is the heart of the Grand Canyon, one of Arizona's greatest treasures and economic drivers. But the Colorado River is in crisis. Climate change is driving record droughts, extreme heat, and wildfires. Lake Mead and Lake Powell are facing dangerously low levels, and dead pool is a real possibility. That would devastate the Grand Canyon and threaten water supplies for families across the Southwest. At the same time, the Trump administration is rolling back critical climate protections. They are gutting clean energy investments, repealing carbon and methane pollution limits, and even threatening the EPA's authority to act. We should all be strengthening protections for our water and our climate, not tearing them down. Just as concerning, the federal conservation funding for the Colorado River was frozen earlier this year by this administration. Some of that funding has since been restored after strong advocacy from Senators Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego, including $105 million released to the Gila River Indian community. But the fact that these investments can be threatened or delayed puts Arizona's water security at risk. When I'm in Congress, I will join Senators Kelly and Gallego to make sure Arizona's conservation funds are never used as a political bargaining chip. I strongly support the Colorado River Drought Contingency Plan, and Arizona must receive its fair share. Every basin state must contribute to a sustainable long-term solution. Southern Arizona is doing their part to conserve. Arizona farmers are making sacrifices. California farmers must also do their part. We need stronger conservation efforts and the federal investments to repair aging water delivery systems, especially in rural communities that have been left behind. We must also tackle PFAS contamination so that every Arizonan has clean, safe drinking water. I stand with tribal nations working to resolve the long-standing water rights claims, including the Northeastern Arizona Indian Water Rights Settlement Act, and I will continue fighting to protect Oak Flat and the Grand Canyon from foreign mining operations that threaten our water. As the county supervisor, I passed a resolution committing to long-term water sustainability because I know how complicated and urgent this crisis is. In Congress, I will fight to build on the $50 billion for water infrastructure that Democrats delivered through the bipartisan infrastructure law. Much of this critical funding remains under threat from the Trump administration. I will fight to make sure these investments stay in place and reach communities in Arizona that need it most. The Colorado River is about our water, our future, our children. We cannot let this lifeline run dry. I'm calling on the Trump administration to stop rolling back climate protections and to work with us to secure the river for generations to come. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Councilwoman Servin, please.
Reach the mic here.
You can take it out.
Can you hear me? Okay, right here.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. My name is Lizeth Servin, and I'm proud to serve in the City of San Luis Council. The Colorado River is in crisis, no doubt. In San Luis, we are aware of this fact every day, and we have been for years. Our community and the region help feed the nation with the lettuce and other produce we grow here because of the river. However, the Colorado has not consistently flowed into Mexico and to its natural destination into the Sea of Cortez since I was a small child. The Colorado is our lifeblood, but it is over-allocated and running lower every year. More than 20 years of drought caused by climate change puts all of us in danger, not just those of us where the river now ends. There was a plan. Real conservation efforts and billions of dollars in funding to reduce demand, and incentives to save water and plan for the future of the river and communities like mine. But because of the Inflation Reduction Act was passed by the previous administration, it immediately became under attack when the current administration took over. The administration opposition to clean energy is about ideology, not economics. But clear energy is economical. This is a kind of partisan short-term thinking that will cause damage to everyone in our region, to our economies, and to our families. If the reservoirs reach debt pool and the dams can no longer generate electricity, who wins? If the river runs too low to water the crops or provide clean water, drinking water to our communities, who wins? Without the Colorado River, there is no Arizona, there is no Nevada, there is no Southern California, and of course, there's no San Luis. We simply cannot let this be our reality. That is why I'm standing with you here today. Stop the rollbacks that are threatening our river and our lives, and let's get back to work on preserving the Colorado River for future generations. Thank you.
Hopefully everything's adjusted now. Well, they used to say, or still say, the last shall be first, but in this case, the last shall be third. So, you know, I was working on a speech this morning, and I blew it away on my computer. I don't know how I did it. So, I'm going to tell you a story. Everybody likes a story, right? We live in an age of narrative. There was this teacher in Yuma, and she had 9 students, and she decided to take them to the West Wetlands, which are just up the river from here. After the students made their observations like good, budding naturalists, they decided that they wanted some ice cream. They went to the parking lot where the bus was waiting, and believe it or not, a paletero appeared, an ice cream vendor with a cart. The teacher went up to him and ordered 9 ice cream bars. She got her money out, but the paletero said, "You only have enough money for 7. That's all I can give you." Problem was how to divide 7 ice cream bars among 9 students. The ice cream, by the way, was melting rather furiously because it was a 90-degree day in Yuma in April. The pupils started clamoring for their ice cream and divided into groups. There was a group of 4 students who said that they should get a full ice cream bar because they're lactose intolerant and they don't get as much ice cream because of the rest of the group, because they have to bring their lactate with them and sometimes they forget. The remaining 5 bars could be divided among the 5 other students. There was another group of 3 students, and they said everyone should get less ice cream. Everyone should get 77.7% of an ice cream bar whenever there were less than 9 ice cream bars available. And then there was a group of 2, and they said, we can go along with whatever the others decide, but we too have an agreement with the teacher that we won't be left out, and we can't get cheaper ice cream bars than the rest of the group. The ice cream was still melting. The teacher now was afraid that the dispute would have to be settled by the principal. And this is exactly where we are with deciding how Colorado River water will be used after 2026. The group of 4 students is the Upper Basin states of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and New Mexico. The group of 3 is the Lower Basin states of Nevada, Arizona, and California. And the group of 2 are the Mexican states of Sonora and Baja California. The teacher is the U.S. Department of the Interior and the Bureau of Reclamation, and she doesn't really want to make a decision. The students should learn how to cooperate among themselves. Oh, I'm sorry, the states should learn how to cooperate among themselves. The principal of the school is the U.S. Supreme Court. The ice cream is the Colorado River. Climate change has reduced its flow and likely will reduce it more in the future. The ice cream dropping to the ground is the greater flow of snowmelt into the dry, thirsty soil in the upper basin. And the paletero is the President of the United States, who took away funds for conservation projects for the Colorado River. We're facing not only climate change, but over-allocation of water, which goes all the way back to the Colorado River Compact in 1922. It's even more of a problem now. The students, or states, agree that they can only take what is given by the river, finally, they've gotten to that point, and not what's on a 1922 piece of paper. But they can't agree on how much each of them will get. Lake Powell has been drawn down 33 feet in the last year so that Lake Mead could stay above 1,050 feet above sea level, and we could continue to have a level 1 shortage with lower cuts than we would have if we faced reality that there is just not enough water. The DCP, Drought Contingency Plan, and the interim standards of 2007 unfortunately have not gone far enough. And there are some very hard decisions that are involved in retaining the sustainability of the Colorado River. The principal suggested to the students that they voluntarily agree to mediation or even binding arbitration. But the students, that is the states, don't even mention these things. And it takes parties willing to abide by the decision to get the results that are needed. This is just one aspect of climate change, which is real, affecting the 40 million people who use Colorado River water. There are many other effects on air quality, people who work outside, including farm workers who routinely face 110-degree temperatures now. But right now, Washington is putting its eggs in the oil and coal basket and cutting back on renewable energy sources like solar and wind that will help reduce climate change. Many of you have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I bet most of the basin states' 7 negotiators have children, grandchildren, or great-grandchildren. Most of the decision makers in Washington do too. And if they don't, they're already feeling the effects of climate change themselves, such as more violent storms, hurricanes, winds, and wildfires. For us, and for our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and their descendants, we've dallied too long already, but we can still lessen the effects of climate change, including on the Colorado River. Isn't that enough to convince all our decision makers, wherever they may be, since it affects all of us rather than just kicking the can down the road again and again, as some are now proposing for the Colorado River with a short-term solution. The children who visited the West Wetlands trust us to take care of the earth so they can have livable, productive, nourishing futures, which they need even more than an ice cream bar. Thank you.
And now we have Representative Mariana Sandoval from Legislative District 23.
Thank you. Yeah, a little shorter. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Mariana Sandoval, and I'm State Representative for Legislative District 23, which covers part of the city of Yuma, Somerton, San Luis, 230 miles of U.S.-Mexican border, Yuma County, Pima County, Maricopa County, and parts of Pinal County, and 3 of the tribal communities that we have here in Arizona, the entire Tohono-O'odham, the Cocapa tribe, and part of the Yuma Quechan tribe. So climate change is no longer a distant threat. It's happening right here in Arizona and across the Southwest. We're seeing record-breaking temperatures, more extreme heat waves, more intense wildfires, and droughts so severe it's shrinking the very rivers that sustain our lives. The Colorado River is the lifeblood of this region. It provides drinking water to more than 40 million people and supports at least 30 tribal nations. It sustains our farms, our communities, and critical wildlife, including endangered fish, and the heat in the heart of the Grand Canyon upstream. Here in Yuma, the river is essential. It's part of our local identity, our economy, and our way of life. But the Colorado River has always been over-allocated, and now climate change is driving flows even lower. If the reservoirs reach dead pool levels, it would be devastating for our state, our farmers, and our ecosystems. While our communities are facing these urgent challenges, extreme heat that endangers outdoor workers, drought that is drying up our rivers, and fires that destroy homes and livelihoods, the current administration is making things worse. They're rolling back the very climate protections we need to stay safe and resilient. They've cut funding for clean energy programs like Solar for All, which helps families lower their bills and reduce water use. They're threatening to repeal the EPA's endangerment finding the foundation of our nation's climate safeguards, and rolling back on carbon pollution from power plants. These actions put lives and livelihoods at risk. We are calling on this administration to stop the rollbacks and to stand with the people of Arizona, not against them. Our families, our tribal nations, our farmers, and our future depend on a healthy, flowing Colorado River. And strong action on climate is needed now. Thank you.
Thank you to our great speakers today. I did want to say one more thing, and that is often the discussions about the Colorado River occur far from the river, where to a lot of people, maybe the river is just a way to convey water. But people in Yuma, people in San Luis, people all along the river understand that it's a living river. We need to sustain it for ourselves, for our livelihoods, but for all the other plants and animals that rely on the river. We just heard the other day about all the birds that rely on the Delta area, and this morning I was just listening to discussion about beavers up by Glen Canyon, and there are humpback chub in the Colorado near Grand Canyon. All of these things can be threatened by climate change and by not taking the over allocation of the river seriously. So I'm glad we could be here with the river as our backdrop today and with the people of Yuma to say we want the administration to act. We want them to act in a responsible way on allocation of the river, and we especially want them to act in a responsible way relative to climate change. Our future depends on it. And with that, I think we'll be happy to take some questions if anyone has any.
My name is Jay Meister. I'm a avid whitewater rafter through the Grand Canyon, been there many times. My question is one that's been asked for 50 years, almost as long as I've been alive, regarding the Colorado River, and we've never gotten a decent answer, and we are now dealing with an administration that doesn't believe in science, that doesn't care about the facts, doesn't care about the law, doesn't care about the rules, doesn't care about the people, doesn't care about the environment, doesn't care about the truth, and doesn't care about the right and wrong. They only care about their own personal financial being. So my question is, what can we do in the light of that administration? I know there's not a simple answer. Get active, participate, go to meetings, but that hasn't been working for 50 or 70 years, or almost 100 years now, since the compact's been in order. In light of these this new administration, what can we do?
Sure. I mean, I wish
Swear her in.
Exactly.
I wish, yeah, we can start with that.
Start with that.
I wish I had a better answer than we do press conferences like this. We bring attention to it. We get organized with other like-minded organizations. That's what we have to do. We have to continue to do it. We can't get tired. We can't lose hope because the situation is critical and it's not getting better. And so I would say that we have an opportunity to change the majority in the House shortly. I think that that's something that we have to focus on, and we have to bring people into elected offices that are climate champions, not people that are like, well, you know, I'm on the fence about whether we should do this, that, and the other. This is a time that we have to really push everyone else around us. We don't have time for moderate on issues related to our climate and our water. And so that I feel very strongly about, because we have a handful of people that are willing to do things like make comments against mining, make comments against, you know, for-profit organizations that benefit from taking advantage of Arizona and our water. I think that we have to continue to push and work together. There are a lot, the Sierra Club is one, but we have a lot of organizations, and especially organizations with people of color and tribal communities that are often overlooked and underserved. If we can get together, we show people that we have more in common, especially as it comes to conservation, than we do differences. That would be like when I was building before.
Yeah, and I would just add, don't give up. One of the ways that you lose on issues is allowing yourself to be convinced by the people who are the opposition that it's all over, that there's nothing you can do. They thrive on making people feel powerless. And I will not lie, this is one of the most challenging times I've seen in the time I've been working on these issues. All the more reason to double down on being active, on working with others. There are a lot of communities that are trying to do something about climate change and about the river. The tribes who were all left out of those compact discussions in 1922 are really stepping up, and they're talking about a new way of treating the river, treating it like the river, the living being that it is. And I think that is something that can really help us going forward too.
If I can just
Oh, yeah.
ditto what they said, and I want to add, with the rise of data centers popping up everywhere like daisies, it's more important than ever that people start speaking about the importance of water and how water is life, because we have over 160 data centers in Arizona alone, and there's more being built. And we're in a drought. We don't have the water for ourselves, let alone for more data centers. I mean, I understand that people get jobs, that, you know, it creates jobs for the construction industry and for people in the community, but there's got to be a balance. And so that is the up and coming reality. You know, I was recently told, and I don't know how accurate this is, so Sandy can correct me, every time you do a chat GPT query, it's 16 ounces of water, because they use water to cool down these data centers. And is that right?
I don't know, but I don't know the number. So.
Elenia told me
It's a
that.
lot. It's a lot.
She's on the cab. So it is, I mean, and now young people are using ChatGPT like we use Google search. And so, you know, just imagine how much more demand we have on our water when all these data centers are popping up everywhere. So I think if you weren't involved, get involved. All the things that were mentioned by Congresswoman-elect and Sandy are super important. Educate people, and I think having this press conference is also a way to continue to push the message and letting people know how important water in the river is, not just to Yuma, but for our entire state.
Oh, you want to say something, Cary? Okay. If there are other questions, let us know.
Yeah, I know. However, this one particularly interests me. I want to apologize if I get a little didactic. I used to be a university professor for 5 years. I have a doctorate in anthropology, which means I have a doctorate in anthropology. That doesn't mean anything else. But I think it's important to do two things now for those who don't like the way things are going. The first is continue to protest, and protest every time you can for what you want to change the world to. The other is understand the intellectual background of where MAGA and other extreme right-wing organizations are coming from. There's a book, and I'm going to say the title, although I apologize for one of the words in it. It's called Hayek's Bastards, Hayek''S. He was an Austrian economist, and this is not a popular movement, even though it's called populism. It's coming from an intellectual background that we need to familiarize ourselves with. I graduated from college before postmodernism became a big thing, and I've spent a while learning what it is and how it's affected our popular culture. We need to do the same now with the people who are providing the intellectual background for this turn that our government has taken. Thank you.
Any other questions? People are also available for one-on-ones if you want. Oh, you have a question? Go ahead.
So Arizona's taken lots of strides over the last few decades to use water more efficiently, especially in agriculture, especially here in Yuma. I've been told though that when you make things more efficient, it's harder to go that extra step. So how does Arizona go about compromising with the other states when we don't really have much more wiggle room?
I'll start out by saying that I think there is more wiggle room. Agriculture in some places is more efficient, in other places maybe not so much. You know, alfalfa is a very thirsty crop, and growing it in the desert is especially thirsty, so it continues to use a great deal of our water in Arizona. you know, agriculture overall is about 72%. Sometimes people say 74%, but I know especially some of the crops like alfalfa, there's more that we could do to encourage transition. I know one of the bills that was at the legislature, we were trying to get it changed, so instead of just paying farmers for efficiency, to actually allow them to look at other crops as part of that. But right now, it just goes toward efficiency measures. So that's one. There's more we can do. We can hold other big water users accountable for how much water they use, whether they're data centers or mines, and require conservation. I know there's been a lot of discussion at the legislature about groundwater. Not much action, but a lot of discussion. But we can apply that to the Colorado River as well. You know, we should utilize that water as efficiently as possible. There's so much more that we can do to be more efficient and to acknowledge the fact that it's not infinite, right? It's a finite resource. So that being said, the other states all have to do their part too.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's what she said. What she said. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks again for being here on the banks of the Colorado River. It's a beautiful park, and we would like in the years to come for there still to be water flowing through the river at the edge of this park. And so that's part of why we're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Want to take a picture?
Oh.
Who's gonna? Do we want to go this way?